wrap this up by 10:30. If we don't get any of the departments done with, or excuse me, by 12:30, we will probably carry it over if we can't conclude it till our next Board of Supervisors meeting. But Department of Transportation Director's Report, do you have anything, just any comments to that?
I have a question for him.
Sure.
Do you want to do that later or now?
No, we'll do it right now. Go ahead.
Okay. Question for Mr. DeShield on the Director's Report. Mr. DeShield, we have in front of us really, or rather, a comprehensive review of various proposed projects. I have a concern on the Casper Walkway project. This has come to us before. And you're talking about, you're giving a sort of a review of it, and it says, because of all the requirements, we anticipate that the project will have to be eliminated. Funding is not adequate. So I have a concern about that, and I've raised this before. The Casper community is getting, I believe, extremely enhanced use, and that is not because the residences are increasing, but the Casper Community Center is moving forward with extensive rentals of that facility. So you have basically a community center that is getting, with the enhancements and the refurbishment of that facility, is getting enhanced use. So we're talking daytime, weekends, evenings, and a lot of these are heavily attended events with parking having to be, their parking area doesn't encompass all of the vehicles that are necessary to attend these events. So usually what happens in these is that a project isn't eliminated. We look for how we can basically patch together the funding to come up with what is the lack. So I would just like to explain, or have you explain, or have us look at, you know, we've got the Laytonville Walkway project, we've got this Covelo project, but then the Casper one is just sort of scheduled for, we're going to abandon the project. So this has been brought forward to me from the MCOG reps on the coast as to what, you know, what we can do to keep this project moving forward and how we can look for those additional funds. I really feel, and I've attended a number of these events, that the Casper project for the long term on the coast is a vital one. So I just want to make sure that we're looking at every funding opportunity for that.
Okay. If I could comment, Howard DeShield, Department of Transportation. The project's been around since before I was director. In fact, I think it's been around 7 or 8 years. Apparently, there was some additional money in a particular category that it fit, that MCOG put towards it. The department engaged in discussions with the community, and I believe the idea was they wanted a gravel pathway. I think the problem we're having is that we've got to now take our plans to Oakland to get Americans with Disability Act sign off on everything we're doing because they're transportation funds. I think, and if you know some people in the community that we could reestablish a dialogue, because I've never had a dialogue on it, I think we need to revisit it with the folks and find out just what we can do. I think we're going to need a more hard surface type situation here, and we're going to have to comply with ADA. The other thing is, you know, we'll have to go through a coastal development permit. It could be we could stage it, Supervisor Smith. Maybe we could just get the design and environmental clearance and then look for money for construction. But there really wasn't enough money to do the whole project.
Well, understood, and obviously, whenever you do a project on the coast, you're faced with having to get a coastal development permit, but I don't think that should be an obstacle that we don't try to overcome. But I concur with you, if this project has been in the works for as long as you're stating that it has, and I recall it when I first arrived at the Board of Supervisors in 2005, then I think obviously we need to revisit the project. I mean, what changes does it need to encompass? How do we move forward? But instead of abandoning it, I would like to figure out, do we convene members of the TAC from MCOG? I think we need to look at the funding sources, maybe convene a community meeting. The Casper community is very engaged and very involved, and you know, maybe we can come up with some compromises. Maybe we can come up with some contributions from the local community, maybe we can rescope it. I think there are a number of
Okay.
options that are possible, and I would just like to figure out a way that we can attempt to do that.
Well, if you could set up some contacts in the community, that would be a good place to start, I think.
Okay?
Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Any other comments? Okay, Howard will accept your report. Committee reports, supervisor reports. I'd like to announce that we have a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission on a general plan update. That's at 1:30 on March 17th. I want to poll the board with the tight economic conditions and staff reductions and days off. Do we still want to schedule our off-site meeting in Point Arena? We have the opportunity to keep that meeting here in Ukiah. I want to just poll the board to what their feelings of that are. Do we still want to go to, it takes a lot of staff time and a lot of travel to go down there. Is there,
Well, I would strongly support the continuation of that policy of having at least two off-site meetings a year. I
Okay.
think to do it on the
this is
ground-
specifically to the Point Arena
I
meeting.
understand that, but I think here that, yes, obviously it takes more time, it takes more effort. It also is something I think that we owe to the outlying areas, and that took some effort to get it in place, and I'd like to not, on some abstract economic basis, say, well, let's just cut it out because it's a little more convenient.
How's the other board? Real quickly, just Supervisor McCallum.
Well, I do support continuing the meetings to the outlying
Okay.
areas. I think we can minimize the expense by controlling what staff needs to attend those meetings and so forth.
Supervisor.
I would concur with that. Supervisors don't receive any additional travel allowances for wherever it is that we do business within the county. I think that in general, this concept is the cost of doing business. I think it's important that we engage the outlying areas. I think folks already know that we're scheduled to be there. I concur with Supervisor McCown. We ought to try to really zero in on the number of staff that need to travel over there. That can be coordinated with clerk of the board in the formulation of that agenda. And county staff that go from Ukiah to the coast can certainly carpool. Thank you.
Okay, so Christie, direct you to manage the agenda to where it minimizes the amount of county staff that has to go to that meeting, okay? Okay, clerk of the board, you have a report on your Chambers TV removal and the web streaming of the board supervisor sessions.
I know we're short of time today, but we just wanted to let you know, and members of the audience and the viewing public, we've been working closely with the General Services Agency staff and John Glasgow and Jason in the media room, and they have a pilot program that we've launched for live viewing of the board proceedings via web streaming. We are changing the format of our minutes to action-only minutes effective this session, and we are directing the public to our website so they can view in live time today and shortly after the meeting, the posting of the audio proceedings of the board meetings, trying to be efficient with our resources and working with General Services Agency to be efficient with the technology. So we will continue to keep you apprised of those changes, but we just wanted to let you know in case you hear of that from any of your constituents, or if you want to view it yourself.
Any other committee reports or board members' reports? Okay, Supervisor Smith.
Yes, I have a report from Washington, as the CEO mentioned. Do we want to do that now or later?
Well, we need to do it now, because once we move into the budget stuff,
Okay.
we're going to continue this.
It's
Okay.
budget-related, so it could
It
be
certainly
a
is.
prelude to the budget when we get there.
Well, go ahead. Give us a quick.
Okay, myself and CEO Mitchell were in Washington, D.C. for a very active and lengthy series of meetings with respect to our budget requests. When we were there, it happened that the House voted on the omnibus bill for 2008-2009. This included 3 allocations for the county of Mendocino that we're very hopeful will survive the discussions and vote in the Senate. The county received an earmark for